And his impact has been felt among students who walked Xavier's campus, and I'm joined by Xavier alums Sherry Moriel Osbury and Dr. Charlene Senegal DeQueer. Thank you both for joining us under these circumstances. I am excited about this conversation as a Xavier alum myself. But Sherry, I want to start with you. Not only were you a graduate of Xavier, but you also Dr. Francis's goddaughter. What is your first memory of him?
You know, I had a front row seat as our families were pretty much conjoined together, because both of my fathers grew up in Jim Crow and they met at Xavier University many, many years ago. So they became, they had a kinship and a friendship that transcended friends, but for the movement and making change and being change agents in our community and impacting the many lives that they both touched. Dr. Francis primarily was an educator, and his work at Xavier is profoundly, will be historically remembered. The legions of students and people that he's touched and educated and throughout this nation is a reminder of the power of education and leadership and vision and courage that he led with as he made many changes on the Xavier campus. Just his whole demeanor was about helping students. He had an open door policy. I remember as a student, even though I was, you know, had a familiar relationship, he was an educator by trade. You know, that's who he was. And he always had a kind word. He always had an inspirational word to tell a student. Any of us, you know, we can all have a memory of him as a student at Xavier University. But he transcended the university. He transcended and made changes throughout the nation. His work after Katrina was highly, you know, respected, because we needed to get our kids back to learn, and despite the hardship, he made sure that happened.
Charlene, I want to ask you, you know, you're currently a professor there, and you were a student while Dr. Francis was a president there, and you became a professor while he was a president there. His leadership, how does that form you as when you're teaching the students today?
His leadership and his impact, I mean, it was tremendous. So he is from Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. We also went to the same church parish, St. Paul. And so growing up, I knew who he was, and I always said, oh my God, one day I'm gonna go to Xavier, and I'm gonna meet him, and I'm gonna be in his presence. And I actually was, and that was the greatest thing ever. I tell you, Dr. Francis walking in the hall at Xavier as a professor when I went back in 2009, it was like he was a giant, but he was one of those giants that he was approachable. You could go and talk to him. He would give you advice. He always had a smile on his face, and he always waved at the students. I remember even being a student, we would walk anywhere we would see him, he would say good morning, he would smile, he would wave. He always acknowledged us, and that made everyone at Xavier feel like someone. And that's who he was. He was a person that made everyone feel like they were going to be somebody. It was like a family. He was a father figure to many, many students, and he raised up doctors and lawyers and PhDs and, you know, many, many people that are so we highly respect him, and we think that Xavier University, his 46 years of leading that university, he made tough choices, but as a leader, he led Xavier in a way that it is now world renowned. If you walk around anywhere, I've worn Xavier paraphernalia in the airports, and they're like, do you go to Xavier? And I'm like, I teach at Xavier. Oh, you must be smart. I'm like, yeah, I went there too. I'm smart too. And that's the legacy of Dr. Francis. You know, he is just, his spirit will always be in the hallways of Xavier. And I remember my office was down the way from his, on the same floor, and I used to see him all the time. So I was there from 2009 to 15 when he retired, and it was amazing. It was always a joy to see him in the halls.
We're running out of time, but I want to ask one last question. What would you say to him if you could talk to him right now?
I would say job well done, and your legacy will live forever. Through Xavier and through all of the lives that you've touched, all of the families that you've transformed, and that rest peacefully, because he earned it.
Sure.
that he was, I thank you. Thank you for bringing us, for your civic leadership, for your vision, for giving us inspiration to keep going and keep moving, that we are all important to this community and to this nation, and that, servant leadership and faith is, profoundly part of who he was, and we thank him for that. We thank him for what he's done for everyone, and we appreciate him and we'll love him, and he's transcended the university into another level that will never be, it'll be historically remembered.
Yeah, and very well known for putting African Americans into medical school.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies, so much for this, for giving us that insight. I know a little bit since I'm an Xavier alum, but for all our viewers out there, giving them a little insight to this. Thank you again so much.